Hey
Great. Yay.
guys.
Hi. Hey, he's going to go do all the communications director stuff. Thank
Stuff that we
goodness.
have no idea how it works, but you know
No.
what? He makes it happen. So hey, it's great.
We've been sitting here nodding, going, oh, yeah, yes, that. so, so it's been a while since we've done, you and I have done one of these
Right.
of this nature. It was, I think we were just talking like June-ish,
Yeah.
but people
Something
liked
like that.
it. They asked
We
us
had a
so
good
many
time with it. So,
questions. Yeah, it was fun. Of course, we were in the same spot, sitting on BC's front porch, and now we are probably 15 miles apart. That's okay.
a little more cozier in our own little area. So hey, it happens
Yeah.
like that.
Yo, yeah. I'm in a t-shirt instead of a dress. Way better. But, so we don't, even though we need to be in our own homes, we don't want to stop talking about CASA because uh, CASA is still a part of our kids' lives. CASA is still very important. And so we wanted to get on and share. We had thought about having an info session event with everyone together. That became less advisable. And so here we are having this event. So, and I don't know if anybody's listening that has never heard of CASA before. Do you think?
I would hope not, but quite possible.
Quite possibly. Hey, or cool. Like, I know we hope people have heard, but it's a process. So CASA stands for Court Appointed Special Advocates. And so what our program does is we recruit, screen, train, and support community volunteers, such as those of you listening, to serve as child advocates on child welfare cases. So the children we serve have been removed from their biological homes because there are allegations of abuse or neglect that have been substantiated to the point that a court case has to open. And they're called child welfare cases or juvenile deprived. And so our CASAs, it sounds very official. It is very official because our CASAs are screened and trained to the point that they are sworn in as officers of the court and are assigned to cases and are parties to the case. So there's all that wonderful technical stuff. If you can imagine, this is a very challenging and very rewarding and very important role that our CASAs serve for children. So, yay.
Yeah, so we're here. Honestly, we just want to be able to give some time where we could reach out to anyone that may have questions or thoughts or concerns. We are here. We are still serving as much as we can. I know everybody's in a weird place right now, but our whole focus is just to be here to answer some questions that anyone may have. So Kathy and myself and BC are here just to have that opportunity for you all. There's a lot of stuff that we can still do in this communication and keeping these the technology that we have. Thankful to internet and everything else, we can still talk to each other. We can still communicate. We can still find out what's needed at the time. So the power of communication is still living strong. So we're excited for that part. So just if there's stuff and you have questions, just chime in, send a little message. This thing also will be something that we can save for later that we can pull up. So we can also try to get back to questions if we don't have the answer right now. We can get that to you later also. But our goal is to try to see what we can do today.
I bet we could answer anything they throw at us. What do you think, Charlie?
Okay, I think you've gone too far. I don't know about that, but we'll really try.
I think they should try to stump us. Do it.
Why are you...
I'm making dares on behalf of Charlie, and he's a little less pleased. Hey, hi, Camila. You
No,
have
I'm
stressed
sad
him out
about it.
immediately.
No.
Did you
Yes.
see the furrowing brow? Because I did.
Like my hair just grew another 3 inches. No. So yes, we've made some changes to some of our upcoming events or what were upcoming. Honestly, it's just to keep everybody safe. Let's be very honest about what we're dealing with right now. We're just following the guidelines and keeping with restrictions to make sure that everybody is in the best place. So two of our events that were taking place, we had our Game On event that was supposed to take place on March 26th. We have now moved that tentatively right now to June 11th. And that's really just for safety of everybody else. There's no sense of risking any kind of health situation. So we did that. And our other event that was going to take place April 6th, which is our Energy for Children, we have now moved that to hopefully May 11th. And we will just listen to all the guidance that we may have and just follow the authorities as they've given it to us and do what's best for the general population.
And if any of you all...
Oh, good.
Okay. Well, I was just going to say that if you went to Game On last year, you know that it is a party worth waiting for. It is so much fun. So I kind of like this delayed gratification until June. I'm kind of here for it.
Yeah, Game On, if you haven't heard about it.
I'll show up to that party no matter what. It's so much fun.
The exciting part about Game On, it is a fun evening that is hosted by Table Host. And they invite people to come to learn more about CASA. It is one of our largest fundraisers that we do have. But what we do is we have a night of just games and enjoying fun with each other, playing minute to win it games. It's those games that you think are silly and, oh, who's going to do that? And then everyone has a blast, laughing at each other, so giggling. So that's what we do. And then we have a story that we talk about a little bit more about what CASA does in the lives of children and how everyday volunteers who have committed their lives or committed themselves to really want to make a difference can really change and help someone's life. So that's what the event is. It'll be moved to June 11th.
And the Science Museum is a really cool venue for something like that.
Yeah, we switched it. Last year, we had the event at the History Museum. We weren't sure what the turnout was going to be like. And we had our largest event to the point where we maxed out capacity at that venue. So that's exciting. So we had to move to something a little bit bigger, and we were looking for what spaces could be fun. And we went to go tour the Science Museum. And the first thing we saw was a massive treehouse. And we said, this is it. So there'll be games all around. There's a massive treehouse. I'm sorry, you cannot climb in the treehouse this time, but it looks really great. But there's also life-size. I think there's Jenga, there's dominoes, there's all kinds of fun. So just be ready for a little fun and excitement. There'll be more information about that one coming pretty soon because we've got to move that date. So everyone's invitations that are going to be hosting a table, they've already talked to some of their people, but we know with the date change, some of that stuff may change, and that's totally fine too. So just be on the lookout, and if something pops up, we will let you know. But we're just going to keep on going, just like with everybody else. We're moving full steam ahead, ready to keep serving more children every single day.
Definitely. And, we've got a lot of plans for 2020. Man, we are feeling ambitious and we are feeling good about 2020 after a brief at-homeness. But training at-homeness. Okay. Training will resume as soon as it is, the timing is right to do so and it's safe to do so. Training will resume. And so I would love to talk to whoever would like to about those training schedules we have coming up and see if there's an option that's the best for you. I know we have a lot of people who have been thinking about this forever. I interview people all the time who say, I've been thinking about this for years, and I think now's the time. And it probably is, which is great. And know that we always have trainings going. We always have kids that need advocacy. And so if you are also at home, this is a great opportunity to get on and maybe fill out the application. Filling out the application is not you saying, I'm going to show up to training tomorrow, and I'm completely committed to that. It's not even saying you've completely committed to doing it. I've had people fill out the application and change their minds. That's okay. But it does start that screening process. And so we can go ahead and get that started when time allows, and you'll be ready to jump into a training when one works for you. So very much a no pressure situation. I've said this so many times, but this is not the kind of thing you talk somebody into. It's just not. It's not that kind of volunteer opportunity. We celebrate each and every new CASA that comes in the door, though, because those of us who are on staff and get to see what that person's going to mean to at least one child, it's something to get excited about. We get to see what that looks like, and it's remarkable. So while we would be delighted to see you start training with us, you'll never get pressured to do so. I'm here to make sure you have all of the information you could possibly need to determine if that's right for you, being a CASA is right for you, if it's the right time for you. So please, you can call me, you can email me, and I'm all about it. I have plenty of time to talk right now,
I was going to say, Kathy, typically you're meeting with folks at the CASA offices or at coffee shops. Are you going to be FaceTiming with new recruits for the next week or so?
I would love that. You can, we can do that. Or we can each bring our own coffee and meet at the same park and be like 20 feet apart from each other and talk on our phones. I could do that. That's kind of
some blankets in between. There it is.
Yeah.
Everyone has one blanket and a third blanket in between it. I like it.
Whatever. I think we can get creative.
We forget about with technology. If you have questions about training or you have questions about what it is or what CASA does, you can always drop us an email. You can always pick up the phone. You can leave us a comment on Facebook. BC does a great job of monitoring those things so that if there's any time, if you just have that moment, just ask the question. More than likely, if you have that question, there's probably statistics say about another 7 people in the room that have that same question. So when we're talking on a global span, or at least in the nation, there's probably 70 to probably 700 people that may have that same question. So don't feel bad about it, because we start seeing those questions pop up and the same questions happening. That means we need to share that information. So that lets us know what kind of material we need to be putting out to you all, so that we can do more live feeds like this, or maybe even a video that we put together, or just some text that we can send and say, hey, this may help answer some of your questions. So please don't hesitate to ask any questions you may have about the work of CASA.
Yeah.
Not at all.
Kathy and I are working on a video series that we'll be putting out on Facebook and YouTube, hopefully within the next couple of months, where Kathy actually went through and lined out some of the top FAQ questions that we get, so we can create some content around that. And then I'm
excited about that.
We're starting a podcast that
we are.
CASA is proudly sponsoring. It's Kathy and I.
Yes, we've recorded our first episode,
yeah. And so I feel good about it. To get that out, and the goal is to do a podcast focused around foster care issues, and to really kind of hone in topic by topic on things related to foster care and what folks can do to help and to get involved. The first episode's going to be about the foster care home shortage, and then we've got probably another dozen topics mapped out. So we're excited to launch that, hopefully soon.
Hopefully very soon. Pretty excited about it.
Yeah. Charlie, tell the folks that are watching, we've got about 8 people watching on the live stream right now. Tell the folks watching a little bit about how they can get involved and support CASA.
There's so many things you can do right now. Honestly, just going online, seeing what we do, learning more about the organization is going to be the most crucial thing. I think when you're able to tell and you know what CASA does, sharing our story, sharing what CASA does to your peers, that spreads the information. The one thing we want to do, obviously, is we want to make sure that everybody knows that this is a vessel that you can help drive by helping the children. So learning more about what we do, asking those questions that you may have, so that we can give you the answers, and then sharing that with your friends when you're curious. I think we forget about the power that we have in our own voice, especially around our peer circles. We always look for what we call experts in the fields of things. And we love experts. We appreciate all the information they bring. But if you really think about it, we really trust our peers. So when you learn that information and you find out more about CASA, and you're not afraid to, wear the shirt or put on the badge and saying, this is what we do, and this is what I talk about, this is why I serve as a CASA, people will take that to heart and say, okay, this is real information. And then they'll start digging. So sharing that information, gaining that knowledge, and learning how we can serve more and more children daily. That's number one. Number two, I mean, we are a nonprofit organization. So any donations or charitable gifts that are made, that just goes back into serving more and more children. I'm not going to completely just go around that. That's part of it. That's how we get to do the work we do. There's this, I mean, the Center for Nonprofits will always tell you, if there's no money, there's no mission. We have to do that fundraising so that we can serve more and more children. But part of that is showing that you care. And that is when you're gaining that information, that tends to be when people want to put a little bit more extra into that. And that's when they start sharing their gifts and finances into the organization too. And we need that help so we can keep serving more and more children. Going to our social media, number three, looking at that and sharing the post, letting everybody know. Social media is that mass attention. That's why we use it, not necessarily attention for ourselves, but just to share a little bit of little data points, but sharing more about little nonprofits and different organizations. That's the kind of attention that we need. We need people to be able to see it in that mass pool. That's what social media provides. And really, honestly, like I said in the first place, asking the questions. I think so many times we just sit on the worries or concerns we have, and sometimes we're scared to just say, hey, what does this mean? What is a guardian ad litem or whatever this kind of thing? Ask us these questions. Ask Kathy these questions. No, I'm playing. You can ask us these questions. We want to be here. That's why we're here. We're here to serve you all so we can let you know how we can better serve the children in Oklahoma County. There's so many kids right now. I know I've seen a post earlier today that teachers are the great ones that can have been notifying authorities if they are worrying about child abuse. And with children being home right now, it takes everyone watching.
That was my first thought. I mean, children getting abused and children going hungry. Unfortunately, when you work where we work, you know what happens. So,
and then on the positive side of that is being in Oklahoma City. Honestly, we have this. We call it the Oklahoma Standard. As soon as we knew that schools were going to be out, you immediately heard the responses of how many places were going to be opening up. Even the school system saying food will still be provided. These kind of things that are still available. We're kind of used to that as a community. So having that opportunity, even sharing that information, yes, we're here talking about CASA because that's what we are, or that's what we do, but sharing those different resources for people, that's vital. There are people that are honestly looking for, I don't know how I'm going to feed my children this week. Sharing that information, and we're doing the same thing, that's crucial. So honestly, to answer BC's question shorter, even though I didn't do that, just did this long spiel, sharing the resources, sharing that information and getting the word out is vital. That's what's going to be making a difference in the lives of children.
You may hear that timer going off. I am baking bread, and it seems like the bread is coming out of the oven. That's one of the benefits of remote work is there you go. You know, the smell of a nice freshly baked loaf of bread coming out of the oven.
Why does that not work through this platform? I want to smell.
I know. I'm like, am I going to have freshly baked bread on my porch, BC?
Yeah, maybe.
That's a no. I just know
we have a comment from someone asking how the COVID-19 outbreak is going to affect children in foster care. And we have guidance that we've posted on our social media and sent out to volunteers about how to do electronic visits and things like that. But Kathy, maybe you can touch a little bit on what foster care looks like during something like this.
Well, something like this is a little unprecedented. But when we're talking about, normally we see something like this on a smaller scale when we're talking about snow days and things like that, or long breaks like spring break, which it also is. There are issues with childcare, biological homes and foster homes and adoptive homes, affording extra childcare for children who are typically in school, so they don't have to pay for childcare. There's also when you are looking at a home where there are a lot of stressors in the home, money stressors, mental health stressors, lack of coping skills, all of these things that can create the perfect storm when you've got the added stress of also trying to provide more food for children, the added stress of having to care for more children. That perfect storm can get a little stormier, or it can intensify. And so it seems like some of those in-home risk factors tend to escalate just a little bit. We also hear of this happening during the summertime. When children go back to school in the fall, we see a lot of referrals from teachers because they're seeing the signs of abuse or neglect when the child returns to school. So I imagine this might be similar, unfortunately. And I think we're also seeing where some of these families who are in that tight spot financially and have those stressors, either they can't stop going to work, and so they're nervous about getting exposed, or they don't get to work, and those financial problems just became way worse. And so the potential for those risk factors, again, is just kind of through the roof in a way that we haven't really experienced before.
And I'll just chime in real quick. I understand we're getting a little bit of a report of echo in the audio. I'm playing around with the equalizer now to hopefully fix that, including I have just muted you guys while I talk. So let us know in the chat if we're still having issues with that. We are experimenting with this technology for the first time, and so we're working through essentially learning how to use live stream technology in this way. But I was talking to our program director, Kim, this morning about how it's kind of an added benefit, because when we do get back to the office, we are all going to know so much about the technology that we can use for recruitment and for training and things like that. So it's kind of, it's also an advantage. So I think the goal is that when I'm talking, according to the chat here, when I'm talking, to mute you all, and when you're talking, to mute myself. And so I will be working the equalizer a little bit more now. So I'm going to switch back over to y'all. Kathy, can you talk to folks a little bit about what training looks like, that process from recruitment through to training looks like?
I can talk about that. Definitely. So the screening process and the recruitment process starts with somebody becoming interested, either because they were already interested, or we've reached out, or we've provided some information, however it happens. And we get connected. Camila and I answer all of their questions, and then they say, oh my goodness, this is amazing, and they apply. And to start that application process, that is how we begin the screening process. Obviously, we screen heavily. Our children, these are children who do not get the best, but we believe they deserve the best, and our CASAs are the cream of the crop. And that's what we want for our kids. And so we'll be interviewing you. We will be checking your references, and we'll be doing background checks. So by the time that you enter training, we know you pretty well, and we can be like, this guy's going to do good. We're excited about this guy. And so it's very exciting to start a new training class. So our training classes, the way we have them set up, our training is nationally developed curriculum that then each program adapts to local standards and to local laws, things like that. But it is across the United States. We're all using essentially the same curriculum. It is great curriculum. It covers some amazing topics, that our people don't always think about: domestic violence, poverty, trauma, abuse, addiction, and cultural competency. And what's great is that you have this room of like 20 some odd people, all of different ages and different backgrounds and different careers and different ways of thinking, and discussing these difficult topics. And so usually people come in with their mindset like this and leave with it like this, because you've talked around all these issues so well. You also work through case studies to help prepare you to work through a case as a CASA volunteer. So those classes are 3-hour classes once a week. Typically, they're on either usually they're on like a Tuesday evening. We've talked about also doing Thursday evening option later on, but usually you're going to get like a Tuesday evening from 5:30 to 8:30, so you can just hop on over to our office after work. And sometimes we also offer a day option where you can come on a Thursday from 11 to 2. If you want to know more details about that, I am all about it. But it goes on for 8 weeks. During that time, in addition to class, you'll do some work in between classes. There's videos, there's readings. You also do court watch, which means you go in and you are a fly on the wall in the courtroom. And we find people really enjoy that. It kind of demystifies the courtroom because people are intimidated by the courtroom. And if you are, and if that's something that's holding you back, please know that that is totally normal. And when I had cases, the thing that people always said when they went to their first court hearing and we would walk out, they'd be like, that wasn't so bad. And I'm like, what did I tell you? It wasn't so bad, you know? So that court watch is very important for you to familiarize yourself with that. But I could go on and on, obviously, about recruitment and training and all of that. So, but if there's any specific questions, I'm here for it.
And now I've got you all muted again. It's kind of hard to go back and forth on here. I'm gonna have to like create some keyboard shortcuts for this. Can you talk a little bit about our trainers too? Because they're kind of the unsung heroes of CASA. They're getting everybody ready, and they do so much work on the front end and during the training classes to support all of our prospective advocates as they're going through training. Talk a little bit about our heroes, Jackie and Nicole.
Oh my gosh, I couldn't even tell you enough good stuff. Sorry, I've got a schnauzer wanting attention down here. I can't even tell you enough good things. So Jackie Rivers is our training specialist, and Jackie, before he was a training specialist, he was an advocacy supervisor with CASA. So he's was that support person who had cases with CASAs and walked them through the whole process and was there for them. Before that, he was a child welfare worker, permanency worker. So he is so knowledgeable, and there's just really not any question that he can't answer about child welfare, to be honest. I mean, I think the amount of knowledge in his brain is remarkable. He's also a lot of fun and just a great, approachable, nice guy. And so not only can he answer your question, but as soon as you meet him, you're like, oh, I feel comfortable asking you anything. So Jackie's wonderful. Nicole, she has so much experience teaching adults about child welfare, which seems to be very specific, but she's got it. In fact, I remember, it's when I realized how good she was and how lucky we are to have her. She had only been at CASA about 3 or so months, and she went to this training about training, how to train adults, all this stuff, and it was at OU. And when she came back, we're like, how was the training? She was like, oh, it was good. She was like, but I was about 20 minutes into it when I realized that I wrote the training. She had written that training, and I was coming back to take it. And I'm like, you're cool. Like you. So she is a wonderful presenter. She is, again, just like Jackie, so knowledgeable, very approachable, and she presents it in a way that where you're going to learn a lot, even if you come in with tons of experience, or if you come in having no idea what child welfare is and are completely unfamiliar with this world, which a lot of our CASAs are. She can speak to you and she can get you there. She'll meet you where you are. So, and she's a very, very, very patient too, which is not great for a trainer.
I think that's one of the coolest things about our staff as a whole. No matter what our responsibility is with CASA of Oklahoma County, if I'm thinking right, pretty much every single one of us have had some type of experience working or serving children before we were even CASA. If me, I'm doing fundraising, and I was a former children's minister. I was a preschool teacher. So like, even no matter where we are in our spots, we all have had this passion for making sure that children are taken care of. So we've taken that passion, that interest into our fields, no matter what our degree programs may have been, what our prior jobs may have been. It still stays at making sure that the children are taken care of. And when you get to the end, that is exactly what we're doing, no matter if it's trying to bring in money so that we can serve more children, or if it's being right there in court, sitting down with the child, from every aspect of it. We have a team of people that want to make sure that children are taken care of.
You are so right. I don't think there's a single person on our 21 person staff who doesn't deeply care about our mission. And I think that's why we are so effective, and why our staff is such a force to be reckoned with, because everybody is working from a kind of a fire in their belly about this kind of work. And Charlie, like you said, whatever role we have in fulfilling that mission, we are always mission minded. And so, when Camila and I are recruiting and doing interviews and all of that, we're getting excited about what this person's going to do in furthering our mission of advocating for the best interests of children. It's not about, okay, I've done my job of screening this person and now they're going to be in training. It's about serving children and advocating for their best interests. And I feel like every last one of our staff members is in that same mindset.
And you'll see that in training. I think that's one of the cool parts about it too. When I started on staff, everybody who joins staff goes through training also. And I thought that was one of the coolest things, because if we're going to have volunteers sign up, and as staff, we have to know what they're about to go through too. So we go through the same training they go through. But during your training, you have different staff people that will come in and talk to you and work with you on different, as you're going through your training process. I'll come in every class and talk to everyone about what is it like to fundraise for CASA. What does that mean? Then you'll have Ross, our Optima guy, who comes in and sits down basically for a full day. You get Ross for a day, for that full training class. And he goes through and explains everything step by step, some of the scarier, more difficult parts. You have a team of people that will be there to support you. And even when you're sworn in, we are right there cheering you on in the courthouse when you're sworn in. So that's, you join that family, and that's honestly what it becomes. You walk in the building and it's like, what's that? Cheers. That was a show. Everybody like looks up and go, hey, we're excited to see each other. For those
Everyone knows your name.
Right. Because that's what we're working for. We're striving to make sure that people are taken care of, the children that we have, but also our job as staff is making sure that our CASA volunteers are taken care of too, and that they have someone they can call on. They know they have their advocacy supervisors, but the rest of the staff is there too for it. That's one of the coolest things.
Can you talk a little bit about, sorry to interrupt, can you talk a little bit about that role of the advocacy supervisor? Because when we're talking about unsung heroes, these are the folks that are working with our volunteers every single day, sometimes round the clock, taking texts and phone calls and emails to make sure that our advocates are supported by the program and have the information and the tools and resources that they need to do their volunteer job. And Kathy, you used to be an advocacy supervisor, so I feel like you can talk to this from personal experience.
I was an advocacy supervisor for 9 years, a team lead for about the last year of that. That was a hard job, friends. These people are so dedicated. They would not be able to fulfill that role if they weren't completely and totally dedicated. They care about those children, but they care about their causes. I remember being very protective of my causes. And if I thought something might be negatively impacting them, they were going to get a phone call and we were going to talk about it. So any and every kind of support that you're going to need as a CASA volunteer, that advocacy supervisor can provide, whether it's writing a court report, what? Don't worry. They will guide you through that as many times as you need to be guided through that. They always edit them. Or whether it's, man, this is really gotten to me, and I need to talk about it. Man, not only are they willing to talk to you about it and hear you out, but they understand. So you're talking to somebody who knows exactly what you're feeling. and has done it time and time and time again, and can help you work through it. That is a hard job. That is, we like to call it an 8 to 5er. It's not 8 to 5, necessarily. So usually it is. Very rarely is it not, honestly. But just know that these people are here from you, and we serve the volunteers, because that's how you're able to serve the children. And so the best way we can make sure those children are served is to make sure you have whatever kind of support that you need. And so that's your teammate. That's your person to guide you and advise you through everything.
Going to give a shout out to our mutual friend, Matt Harney, who is saying hi in the chat.
Okay, all three of us know Matt Harney.
Hey, Matt. Haven't seen you in a while. Hey. I know. He definitely knows you better.
Isn't that so funny? So, yeah. It's so funny that we all know him independently. Hi, Matt.
Yeah, Matt was a childhood friend of mine, and he knows Kathy going years back. And Matt came to one of our fundraisers a few years ago, so it was good to see him out supporting. And so, talking about supporting, we've got staff that need support from the community as far as donations and contributions to keep our organization running. Because we like to say we're an organization of about 24 paid staff, but typically we're an organization of about 300 members, most of which are volunteers. Charlie, can you talk a little bit about how folks can get involved with supporting CASA?
Yeah, so we have a few different things. Right now, we've talked about our events a little bit, but we are constantly trying to serve more children. And the only way to do that is if we have the means to actually back and support that one. So going online, we always have our platforms open for our website where you can make a donation there. You can make a one-time donation. You can make a monthly donation. That can be anything from $1 a month to $1,000 a month, whatever you feel is best for you. Making that contribution, something that we know when it's recurring. I know that'd be lovely.
$1,000 a month, that'll be fine. That'll work.
That's fine. Yeah, that works now.
That's good.
But sure. Those kind of things help so that we can keep going. We can make sure we can see how many cases are coming towards us. And one of the things that a lot of people don't know for CASA, there's a national standard that for every one advocacy supervisor, they can serve 30 CASA volunteers. So some of the exciting parts is, okay, that's great. But then when you get a new volunteer coming in and you're excited for it, sometimes we get to the spot where where we're at now, actually, we need a new advocacy supervisor. So that means you have another staff person that's going to be serving to making sure that when you are worried and you need to call somebody, you know who to call. So having that person there and ready for you, by national standards, for every 30 CASAs that come in, we have to have that spot. So again, you can go online. Corporate sponsorships, we actually have our website link where if you want to be a corporate sponsor, BC's done a great job before. You can say, okay, I'm a corporate sponsor, I'm going here, individual contribution here, and you can designate it however you want to. If this is something that you want to make this a reoccurring gift in honor of somebody else or someone that has meant something to you, you can do that. If there's somebody, say you are currently serving as a CASA and you want to make a contribution towards your advocacy supervisor or something like that, saying that this person, you can say in honor of the work that they've done to help me through my cases, and we'll acknowledge that, that people are supporting them. These kind of things help us keep going. We can serve more and more children because we can't go over that limit from the national standard, because if you start having an advocacy supervisor serving 50 CASA volunteers, there's no way that person can truly take care of everybody in that space. So we have to stick to these standards that we're making sure that people are truly taken care of and watched out for. The things you have to remember is, we're saying that's 30 CASA volunteers for every advocacy supervisor. Each CASA volunteer may have 2 to 3, maybe sometimes 5 kids on a case. So you think of that number split, what happens, yes, that one CASA volunteer, if they're serving children in that case, you multiply that times 30 people, that's 90 children by one position, one staff position we have. That's 90 kids that we can now potentially support. That's the beauty in it. It's that trickle down effect of we can keep going, we can keep being there and supporting those people. And that's some of the excitement. Some people have not been able to see this, and I will keep talking about it because it's so cool. We have our new building that we're in right now. So you now have, well, not right now, you know what I mean, but we have space where if you want to come work on a case in normal conditions, you can come sit down and work on your case next to your advocacy supervisor. Or if you want to read through things and you're confused or you're worried about certain things, you can come sit down and do a little Optima time in the office. That space, that opportunity was another thing. We were raising this money to try to have that done when we built out the whole space, and it's done there now. So honestly, the contributions that are currently coming in are to serve children. It's to get more advocacy supervisors in place so that we can serve more and more children. The gift that we were given by this new building and the furnishing and the in-kind support from a small group and so many others that were there next to us and helping us get through it, and generous donors who did matching grants. They put in this hard work in this last year and a half almost to make us get to this spot where we're saying the money we're raising right now is truly to get back to the children so we can make sure that we are serving them. So when you go online and you make your contribution, or if you go to our text to give, when we have those special things running, you're serving, so you're giving these contributions so that we can reach more and more children by having advocacy supervisors in place. So remember that. And if you have questions at any point, you can give me a call, shoot me an email, shoot me a text, send us a Facebook message, and let us know. If you have a question of, hey, can I do a certain special thing? What does this mean? Just give me a call. Any kind of those questions, I can answer, steer you the right way. I know we've had a lot of things recently where since we are working with our advocacy supervisors, I can always go stick my head out my door and say, hey, what's going on? And talk to people. So if you have questions, again, swing by the office when everything's back up and running and stuff like that. We love to see people come in, ask us questions. If you want to come do a tour of the building, let us know and we can show you a little tour of what's going on. You'll get to meet most of the staff, probably half the staff, because typically someone's in court. So there's rarely a time.
Meetings or out at something. Yeah, that's true.
In the community and actually serve those kids. So yeah, anytime you want to go online and make those contributions, it truly helps, and it truly makes a difference in the lives of children every single day.
Yeah. You know, and when you think about 30 volunteers per advocacy supervisor, that's about the limit to give really, really, really high quality attentive support. When you think about that, Camille and I get really excited about recruiting, and we've actually had a really good response. Like BC has been big on making us more bad of a house. He's very excellent. He makes us look good, which is great. And so we've had a lot of people over the last couple of years like coming in and wanting to learn more about CASA and become CASAs. And also our advocacy supervisor team is so good. I forget what the percentage of that our retention rate has gone up, meaning that a CASA, once they finish their first case and that case closes, they're saying, I want to take another case. So we're bringing in more CASAs that are going out, and that is exactly what we wanted. We want to serve more children. But then, you do one class of 30 people and you need another advocacy supervisor just for that training class. And so that's why we really kind of hammer that home is that we have to fund those positions. That's a state and national requirement that formula is in place, and for good reason.
Can you talk a little bit about we've talked about recruitment and training and advocacy supervision, but can you talk a little bit to the role of the CASA volunteer and what it is they're doing to serve the children on their cases?
Yes. So the impact really is kind of comes from two different directions. We're referred to often as the eyes and the ears of the court. So you're gap gathering, because our affiliation is through the court. It's not through DHS, it's through the actual juvenile court. And so you are getting your access and your authority through the judge. And so that's who we work for. But you are going and gathering all the nitty gritty. You want to find out what's really going on with this kid and what's really going on this case. And then you're bringing it back to the court. And not only do you get to just bring that information, you also get to give him or her your opinion. Thank goodness. That would drive me nuts to not be able to give my opinion. So you're telling them, based on everything I found out, this is what I believe to be in the best interest of the child. And you recommend it, you advocate for it, and you push for it in and out of the courtroom. The other side of that is that relationship between the CASA and the child, and how pivotal that can be for a child. And how it can change that. Just if you think about just moving the needle a little bit and what that does for a child's trajectory going forward, it's very meaningful. You know, just doing little things like building trust and saying, hey, I'm gonna give you a call Thursday evening and see how that test went. And then Thursday evening you call and you see how that test went. Or Saturday, I'm gonna come by and we're gonna go grab lunch and just chat. And that's exactly what happens on Saturday. They're learning that they're worth showing up for. They're learning that there are people that they can depend on. They're learning that there are adults they can trust. And these are, for a lot of our kids, a big mind shift. And it's an important mind shift that will impact them always. So these basic requirements in order to do this, our minimum requirement is that a CASA sees their child in person where they're living at least once per month. At least once per month. Most of our CASAs like to see them a little more frequently, and that is great. We encourage that, but once a month is the minimum, and that has to be at least once in person. But CASAs are also in contact with DHS. They're in contact with teachers. They're in contact with therapists. They're in contact with a number of service providers so that you get a really good full picture of what's going on. One thing I think is great for CASAs to do is observe visitation between the parents and the children. What's great about that is you can see when the parents are improving and taking what they've learned and applying it. And when they are, it's a really nice thing to see. It's real. I mean, we've been able to genuinely push for and recommend reunification of families because these parents have completely turned it around. And it is, I mean, I don't know if there's a greater joy. And adoptions are wonderful too. It's just the potential, you know, this role is hard, but the potential reward is pretty stellar. So I went on a ramble there, but that's a lot of the CASA.
Okay, I was giving Charlie a moment to jump in. You looked like you had something. No, you're.
I mean, I easily can. Yeah, I mean, the work I see, the effort and the passion I see from the CASA volunteers, just the stories they tell of they're coming back and saying, "Oh, we went and had a shake and we just talked," and they're able to open up because that trust is building. My years working as a children's minister, being there, just being an open person to listen to a child makes a huge difference. I remember going, and I still have calls from kids that I served in ministry in my field. That's what these CASAs are doing. These CASA volunteers are being that trusted source, that trusted person that a child can pick up the phone. Because what happens is they pick up the phone when something small goes wrong and they want to yell about it real quick. But they really pick up the phone when something big happens and they have no idea what to do. And if they don't have that CASA there, they're either figuring this out by themselves, or a lot of times they're digging a bigger hole. They're causing more issues because they truly don't know. So if you think of a 16-year-old who has no idea what to do, so they run because they didn't have anyone to talk to.
Yep.
How many times has that call came into a CASA and they said, "What's going on? Tell me, stop where you are. Let me know what's going on. Where can I find you? And let's just go sit down and talk it out." Or on the phone, talk it out where you could prevent anything worse from happening. that's some of the most impactful work, because they know they can pick up the phone or go find a phone to be able to reach to someone and saying, I just don't know. And sometimes it's not where immediate action needs to happen. Typically, our CASAs are ready for immediate action, and they're saying, I just need to scream real quick, and I need to know someone's listening. And that's the true statement, is sometimes they just want to know that someone's listening. Mm-hmm. And that's what our CASAs do every single day. I know there are so many of these are cases that have closed, and these children have either been reunified or have been adopted, or sadly some have aged out, but they still will want to reach out to their CASAs or people, because they had that much of an impact on their lives. They were there in some of the most difficult times. And that's a bond that's been formed. And a lot of times the adoptive family or the reunified family says, I'm not going to get rid of this person who helped you through this hard time. And of course, those are conversations that have to happen through the proper channels. But these CASAs have made a huge impact in lives of children. And that's truly what we're here for. We're here to get children back into the best possible place they can be in, and know that there are people that care for them. And that's the beauty of it all.
That's, you totally hit the nail on the head. We've had so many cases where like an older child, like a teen or something, would we call it go AWOL, run away. And the only person that they would be willing to have any communication with at all was their CASA. They wouldn't talk to anyone else. And so we've had them who have agreed to actually meet up with their CASAs, and their CASAs helped them ease back in and helped them express what they were fearful of, why they ran away, what they need to change in order to feel safe, and kind of help guided them through that. Or even ones that were willing to, the CASA said, I need to know you're safe. And they'll, every few days or so, I'm alive. And then that's it. They don't want to be found, but at least they're, there's often that little bit of communication, they'll give it to the CASA. So, or
those moments where they'll call the CASA just to say, I didn't get in trouble this week, or nothing bad happened this week, or I had a great week. Yes. And we're just like, great. And some of us will take that for granted at different times. But it's about those moments where they're just saying, everything's fine. Thank you. And I think sometimes we forget it. And this is with all children. Sometimes those thank yous don't come when you want them. But sometimes it's not the word that's being said. It's that the phone rang. That's the thank you. It's saying, you're who I needed. Thank you for being there for me. That's sometimes that moment. And if without the CASA's present, a lot of times that doesn't happen.
Yeah. I remember telling a teenage boy once, I just said, and it wasn't even like some profound conversation, but I was like, you're a good kid. And he was like, no, I'm not. Like, he laughed at that. He's like, no. I was like, you don't think you're a good kid? And he's like, no. I was like, well, someone's been messing with your head, because you're a great kid. And he's like, he really had to think on that for a minute. And I'm like, so, I think people forget just what some positivity and good positive adult interaction can mean for a kid. Because they tend to internalize everything that happens when a parent doesn't show up for a visit. It's because they're not worth showing up for in their head. And there's no convincing them otherwise. And so to have an adult who's there, not paid to be there, just there, is powerful and can mitigate a lot of that damage. Do you have any questions at all?
We don't have any active questions from the chat. We've had consistently about 9 or 10 people watching, so thank everyone. We're coming up on the end of the hour, so without any new questions, I guess we can wrap this up. It's been fun and interesting. We had multiple Skype sessions prior to this, trying to get the technology to cooperate, and so it's exciting that we actually got it to work, and hopefully we'll be able to do some more stuff like this soon.
Yeah. Maybe next
week.
Did I just say? Okay. Just committed everybody.
So yeah, I'll go ahead. I'll go ahead and wrap this up. Thank everyone for watching. I want to remind everyone of what Charlie said. You can reach out to us through okcountycasa.org or through this Facebook page where we're live streaming this now. And if you go to okcountycasa.org/volunteer, you will find information for how to get a hold of Kathy, or if you're ready to jump right in, fill out that volunteer application and get the process started. And I want to encourage everyone to maintain social distance and practice hand washing and hygiene practices and stay safe out there. And thank everyone for doing their part for public health as we go through kind of an interesting circumstance, but we'll all get through it together. Like Charlie said, we've got that Oklahoma standard, and we just so much appreciate everybody who's watched, everyone who's supported CASA, and we will see you soon, probably on another live stream. And just a reminder, okcountycasa.org in order to find more information on how you can support our program or get involved. This is BC Phillips for Charlie Ludden and Kathy North saying, stay safe. Have a wonderful afternoon.
Yes, that.
Wash your hands.